On everybody, welcome back to another episode of What Were You Thinking, presented by World's Greatest here on FanFest, being simulcast on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And I think LinkedIn. I think our producer is streaming this on LinkedIn. So we're on a bunch of different platforms. We have a chat room that you can join on FanFest. That's where we are hosting this show, watch.fanfest.io/world's greatest, but take all the vowels out of world's greatest because that's how we're doing it. Devon Allen, my co-host, is on stream. Let's go. What's
Let's
up?
go. Hey, we almost made it 3 days in a row without technical difficulties. I was a minute late.
Yeah,
As I'm logging in, my PC shuts off and restarts itself. So hey, we're good to go.
there
I
you
got a
go.
fresh restarted PC.
There you
Excited to be
go.
here.
Now I have that same shirt, but I felt like it's kind of rude for me to wear Olympic team stuff when I'm in the presence of actual Olympians. It's not really the same. I mean, it's not like if I went out and got the tattoo. That's a little different, but
You know
you
what?
know.
There's a lot of controversy about that because I'm a big believer if you want to get a tattoo, you should get whatever you want. So, this could be just as motivating as it is like a reward for being an Olympian. Like post Olympics, a lot of the athletes get the Olympic tattoo, but it could be just as meaningful for an athlete that's aspiring to be an Olympian that gets the tattoo as motivation. So, I don't, put too much weight on it. I don't give anybody a hard time for having it.
Okay, fair enough. But the T-shirt, you're like, no, don't you dare wear that T-shirt. That's mine.
No, you got to earn this
I
one.
I earned that T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Well, I earned this awesome world's greatest shirt. So there you go.
You are the world's greatest.
Shout out world's
You
greatest. There you go. And so world's greatest, for those of you who are not aware, we are a content company. We focus on making content with, for, by Olympic athletes, and we use the term Olympian to talk about sports within the Olympic realm. So not, you don't have to make the team in order for us to have content of you. So if you're an aspiring athlete and just haven't made the team yet, hit us up. Maybe we'll make a movie. We
Yeah,
actually had your
and
super doc playing before the show started, Devin.
I saw a little snippet of it. And if you
Yeah,
want to check out that super doc, head over to YouTube / world's greatest. That's it, right?
that's it. That's
That's
it.
it. Ah,
Next,
man, 3 days in a row, I got it down.
there you go. See, I don't even know what I'm doing here anymore. I don't even. We just you just host it. This
I
is your
see.
gig now.
I wouldn't be able to host because I spend like you can see my eyes going back and forth is because I got dual screen up. I'm watching
Uh
figure skating as we're
huh.
chatting because I cannot
Okay.
miss a second of the live events. I was just watching the men's Nordic combined
Yeah,
coming
I have
down to the
that.
wire,
Right.
and yeah, I've been kind of enjoying. I watched some of the half pipe earlier, and then I watched the highlights of the not ski jumping, the freestyle skiing as well. So I'm diving into the Olympic movement right now. I am excited for some of the speed skating and the final races coming up here soon.
Yeah, the speed skating is always a good time, and especially for someone like yourself that has made a career on speed. For those who don't know, Devon Allen, who is our co-host, two-time Olympian in the 110-meter hurdles, former Oregon Duck. I don't know what do you guys say, quack?
We don't really quack. We just say Scoducks.
Scoducks. All right, that works.
Yeah.
And I am not an Olympian, but I am just an Olympics super fan and friend of a couple of elite athletes. I guess we could say. I think we're friends now. I think we've been doing this long enough that
Oh yeah.
we can say
We're
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Is that
joining us on the show today, we're going to have Ryan Crouser, another friend who is a two-time gold medalist, back-to-back in Rio and in Tokyo at the shot put. Absolute behemoth of a human, strongest man I've ever seen, uh, and um, and he's like twice my height too. There's some really fun pictures of that floating around. Maybe Bob will pull one of those up. But
you know
Ryan Krause is going to be joining us, and I
No, I was gonna say he is a
continue.
big guy. No, he is a big guy, but it's not really about his stature. It's just about his personality. He's a fun guy to hang out with. Shout out to the Bellinzona boys. We were hanging out. We had a little like 1 week camp going on during the season where we spent time in Bellinzona, Switzerland, and
Nice.
we got to hang out a lot, which was a good time. So I'm excited for Ryan to be on the show, and we get to talk about just his athletic achievements as well, which are even more impressive.
Absolutely. Nothing more impressive than his mastery in the fishing boat, though, which I'm sure we'll dive into a little of that as well. I
100%.
also had a chat earlier today because it's late in Finland right now, or actually I think they were in Germany when I talked to them. But yeah, it's past everyone's bedtime in Europe. But I did chat with Annika and Niklas Malacinski, who are brother sister combo and members of US Nordic combined national team, and they're actually out there in Europe competing. So we have a couple of questions I asked them. We recorded their answers, and we're going to roll those in as well while the show's going on. Just a note: when we do bring those up, if you are here in FanFest, you can unmute it yourself, so that way you can actually hear the conversation. But if you're watching on any other streaming platform, we'll be able to unmute it for you, so you'll be able to watch. But here on FanFest, you have all that control. You can mute, unmute, join us in the chat room. By all means, if you have any questions for Devon and Ryan once we get going, throw it in the chat room. And
Wait, does that mean I
we would
can
love to
mute
hear
you
from
at any time if I wanted to?
So this show is no longer co-hosted by Devon Allen. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't boot you. I wouldn't do that to you.
So breaking up.
Yeah. Oh, here come the technical difficulties again.
I know, tough.
So what we do here on the show, two goals. We like to laugh and we like to learn. We've been learning so much about the world of winter sports, especially ski jumping in the last couple of days, and Nordic combined as a whole. So we're going to continue doing that today, of course, but we bring in summer athletes, winter athletes, have great discussion, some of it pre-recorded, some of it not. And, it's really a great show. I've had a blast. We're doing this for 17 days straight. I think this is day 6 now, I want to say. And we're going to be here every night until the end of the winter games. 9:00. You can watch us right here on whatever platform you're watching us. But please come and join us on FanFest, because that way you can kind of be part of the show, which is really, really cool part of that platform. So I think Ryan's probably going to be joining us very soon. Yeah, there's that infamous shot you've been seeing out of Beijing of the nuclear towers behind the ski hill. But yeah, there you have it. Have you seen that picture? Oh.
I did get to see that picture, and I thought that was fake. And then my physical therapist, who I work with a few times a week, said that he actually watched an event that took place there, and so I was like, wow. But I haven't seen it yet on live TV, so I'm not going to believe it until I see it. But that's very, very interesting that's the backdrop for an Olympic venue.
It's so funny because you look at all the most amazing vistas on all these ski jumps, especially throughout Europe, right up at Whistler. Here's Ryan Crouser joining us. Speaking of beautiful sights, yes, and and then of course you have the smokestacks. But Ryan Crouser, 2-time back-to-back defending shot put gold medalist with short hair again. Now post Tokyo, he went back to the short hair. So why don't you introduce yourself to everyone who's watching, who, if unless they've been living under a rock, they should know who you are. But why don't you tell us who you are?
Yeah, so to everybody watching at home, wherever you might be, I'm Ryan Crouser, Olympian in 2016 and in 2020. I guess 2020 is what we're calling it, even though it happened in 2021.
Tokyo 2020, yep.
Yeah, so Rio and Tokyo, and I throw the shot put. So big, heavy ball. It's 16 pounds, and throw that as far as possible. And that's my job. Professional track and field athlete. And I went to the University of Texas on a track and field scholarship, graduated in 2016, and have been a professional track and field athlete since then. So grateful to be able to do what I do, traveling around the world, throwing a big, heavy rock as far as I can. So get to hang out with guys like Devon in Bellinzona boys.
Yeah.
But no, it's a fantastic job that I have, and so I'm excited to be here. I've been busy building kind of an at-home training center, I guess. I just moved, and so we're trying to get the shop at the house transformed from what was just a storage area to kind of a performance training center. So that's what's been keeping me busy recently.
I saw a TikTok or a reel or on Instagram that you might have posted, or your girlfriend, about the new lawnmower you just got, but you were using that on the snow. Is your plans for that, like you have a big plot of land and you're gonna go and mow out a whole track and field venue, so we can come and run out the Ryan Crouser invite?
I've got I got a 360-degree lawnmower. It came with the house. Oh, and I'm glad it did, because I have 2 acres of lawn, so I do not want to push a hand mower across that, which is all I've ever had. So I was excited to get a riding mower, and I couldn't believe how fast it was going. So, and I had to move it because I was actually putting in a throwing net where that was. So I had to pull it out, and we had like 6 or 8 inches of snow, and so I was drifting on the 360 riding mower. I felt really. It was really relatable to like the water boy, when she soups up his lawnmower and he's driving around everywhere. So it was a lot of fun. I had never been drifting in the snow on a lawnmower, so it was a good time last week.
That's awesome. No, I'm excited. That's pretty cool that you got a new spot and you're building a training venue over there. For all the fans watching here, real quick, and I want to take this from Sandy Morris. She explained something when she was talking about your event like a couple years ago, and she said that the shot put is the weight, and this is most relatable to me because I didn't know how heavy a shot put was, but the shot put actually weighs about as much as the heaviest bowling ball you can find at a bowling alley, right? Mm-hmm. So like if you just go in there and grab the heaviest one, that's how much a shot put weighs. So I've gotten the chance to throw it, not well and feel it. And we threw a couple 4-pound rocks in the Bellinzona River, but it's quite a feat to be able to launch a ball that far. So congrats to you, Ryan. Obviously, you're the best in the world ever at the event now, holding the world record. And I'm sure you're going to break that a few more times before your career is over. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see. And hopefully I can put on my mask so I can come challenge that world record in a couple years.
Yeah, you gotta hit the weight room a little bit.
Yeah, no.
I've seen some lifting videos. It's looking pretty good.
Hey, I'm strong for my weight, but I do remember in Bellinzona we were doing some stuff, and I think I was doing some snatch, some hang snatch or something, and you just grabbed the weight that I was finishing my workout with, and you just did a snatch, muscle snatch. You just like pulled it up here and then just pressed it. I'm just like, oh man. And then remember we had to put all the weight in the weight room on the bar because there wasn't enough. There was not enough weight on the rack that he was using, so we had to go to the bench press and the pull machine as well and grab every single 45-pound or 20-kilo plate and put it on there. So it's pretty funny,
It just probably wasn't even enough, huh?
No, just having just being around Ryan when he is using a commercial weight room compared to like a facility that you would actually train at, right? Which is much, much different.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't try to avoid commercial gyms, but in my average training day, training week, I'm not seeing a ton of commercial gyms. I'm training at the university. I've spent time at the Olympic Training Center. And then now I'm lifting predominantly in the home gym, and so I don't go to commercial gyms very much. And so like when I was at the training center, if you were benching 400 pounds, that was terrible among the throwers. It was like, dang, this isn't working.
This guy's
on working
sets. So weak.
This guy's on working sets at 400 pounds. This is kind of sad. And so that's like the standard that I compare it to. And then like the other analogy is like 365 is a weight that I only hit if something's wrong. Like I would never do 365 pounds normally in training on squat or bench, because it's like you hit one plate on each side is 135, then you go 225, then you go 315, 3 plates, 4 plates is 405. So like if you see somebody doing 365, it's like, dang, you're having a bad day because you couldn't go to 405 straight off of 3 plates.
Tough.
And so every time I go to a commercial gym, and I don't want to sound cocky at all. It's really a matter of perspective when every person you're training with is benching 450 to 500 pounds. Like that's what you get used to seeing. So I always forget that like at a commercial gym, I really stand out because in my normal training group, I'm not usually the strongest guy.
Yeah,
Well,
they need to
you heard it
like
here
come out
first.
with, yeah, it's because they just got to come up with a 300-pound bar, and then you can kind of look like a normal guy when you go there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm curious now because we're coming to you during the Winter Games. Have you been watching any of what's happening out there in Beijing right now?
I feel bad. I'm way behind on watching on my Olympic contents because so we just moved and I don't have TV. Like I don't have live TV. I have internet, but I don't have live TV. So I'm way behind on my content. Most of mine has become from social media or like news articles, really old school. And then I've just been working a lot. I've been training full time still, and then setting up the home gym. So it's been like 14 hours a day of stuff. So I feel like I have. This is definitely the least Olympic content I've had that I can remember. So uh, I'm a huge Olympics fan, summer and winter, obviously. So I feel bad that I feel like I have not been doing it justice. So I'm hoping as we get to more finals, that I'm going to be able to catch more content.
Well, yeah, you
What do
got
like to
11
watch?
days.
Yeah. What do you like to watch? Because I see Devin keeps peeking over to watch figure skating. I'm curious what it is that you like to watch when you've got the stream up or when your TV is working.
Yeah, I like this. I like all of the ski jumping. I like snowboarding as well,
Nice.
but I'm a big ski jumping fan.
Are you a winter sports like?
What is this?
Have you snowboarded or skied or any of that like extreme sport?
No, so that's the thing that's kind of funny. So I grew up like right at the base of Mount Hood, which is a huge winter sport destination for skiing and snowboarding, and so I didn't really get involved in that at all. I didn't. My parents didn't do it. Well, they did when they were my age now, and then I think they both had some bad crash, and they're like, "All right, we're done with this."
Done, yeah.
And so then by the time that my friends started driving and got super into it, I was in year-round sports, and it was to the point that my coaches were like, "You're not going up on the mountain."
Yeah.
Like, and then so yeah, I've never been on a pair of skis or snowboard. I've inner tubed a lot. That was
that
what I
counts.
was doing is
They
sitting
gotta
on the
put
inner
that in the
tube.
games.
I know. I'm good at it too because I'm heavy. I
Yeah.
got a lot of speed going.
I would love to see you do the luge then, like just Crouser going down just the big icy pipe.
Yeah, and I
could
enjoy
see
watching
curling.
bobsled. I enjoy watching bobsled simply because I trained with a fair number of bobsledders. They come to Chula Vista when I was living there for 3 years. They come to Chula Vista in the summer because there's usually I feel like there's not snow in Lake Placid at the Olympic Training Center there in New York, and the weather is really nice in Chula Vista in the summer there in San Diego. So they would come down and train. And a lot of respect to them because their training is kind of similar to a thrower's. It's a lot of explosive, short, fast twitch training because they're trying to push really for about 20 meters and under is where their maximum acceleration. So they're impressive athletes that they have a solid squat, but a lot of their jumps, their plyometrics, and their linear application of force is really impressive.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that because I told you how we have these videos with Annika and Niklas from Germany. They're out there with USA Nordic competing right now, and I actually asked them a similar question because they grew up doing all kinds of sports, summer and winter, and specifically track and field. And I asked them how track and field has helped their game, has helped them become better skiers, and they were like, yeah, track and field's absolutely, it's been immense. It translates over so well. And Devin, we found that out while talking to a lot of athletes this week as well. And I know, Bob, you have that video that you're going to pull up at some point soon, but yeah, it's crazy that the sports are so different, but just from a training perspective, there's so much that you can take from one another.
Here's a video
and
right
here's the video right now. Yeah, when it starts playing, you unmute it so you can actually hear what they're saying.
Oh.
It's intervals, distance workout, and like strength workout. But then when you dive in deeper, it's going to be more specialized to the sport. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean,
There you go.
what Nick said.
If you're looking at it at
Oh, what movie is it from where he says that's
So,
that's
yeah,
what
so
I have
there
to
you
say
go.
about
So it's
that? Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump, and that's that.
That's all
Hey,
I have to say about that.
but it's true. You know, the force application in a lot of sports is super, super important. And I feel like track and field in multiple events, including the throws, you have to be so efficient at doing that. And that really just makes you a explosive athlete. Like, to be honest, I could say this confidently if you picked a person randomly from the street, you know, like 99% of the human population, Ryan Crouser is faster than him too. You know, and he doesn't even run for an event, right? His main thing is throwing. But I'm just saying this because I've seen you run. Like you're faster than most every human, you know, other than the ones that do sprinting for a living. And you're also, you know, 6'7", 320 pounds. So it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, track and field really lends itself to being successful in other sports. I mean, when you look at the very fundamental basis of it, especially nothing against distance, but distance is kind of its own animal in the sense that it might translate to soccer or whatever that's a little bit more endurance based. But if you're fast, you're a good track athlete, and if you're fast, that's going to help you in almost all sports. If the throwing events, you're trying to develop as much power and transfer it to an implement in a constricted space. If you can develop power quickly, you're going to have successful in other sports. And so a lot of the foundation of track and field is the key to success in other sports. And I think track and field also, you have kind of a cutting edge in terms of training. A lot of innovation and training improvements come from track and field just because ours is so easy to measure. If you're in the 110 hurdles, you either have improving physically on actually how fast you're going and how much force you can generate, or your technique. And then at the end of that race, you've got a time of what you ran. And so you can really see, is this training beneficial? Am I improving, getting faster, or am I not? And so I think that's why track and field really lends itself to being successful in other sports.
And you know, there's a series that we did at World's Greatest that was called Superhuman Stories. And Ryan, you were the focus of the first episode on that series. And everyone who's watching, you can go watch it after this on YouTube, youtube.com/World's Greatest. But there was an interview that we had with Boogie Johnson, Coach Boogie Johnson, who was on this show earlier. He was on the first episode of the show that we're doing right now. And he said that 10 times out of 10, if it was you versus Usain Bolt in a 15 or 20 meter race, he takes Ryan Crouser. He said that he takes most shot putters because you guys have this explosive factor to it, right?
Yeah, that means a lot coming from one of the best sprint coaches in the country. But yeah, so I mean, all of our training is 99% of our training is really 2-3 seconds tops, because that's how long the actual shot movement is. It's you turn, get both feet on the ground, and accelerate out of that power position. And so it's all about how much force can you really apply and create in 1 second. And so, and with the sprinter, you train how much force can you apply out of the starting blocks, but also you're training top end speed. So we spend so much time on maximum power production that that's what we do. If you can produce a lot of power, you're going to throw the shot far. And just with that kind of training, you have to be strong. And so for short bursts, I'm not going to be able to open up and stick with Usain Bolt past 15 meters because his top end speed is the fastest in history.
Sure.
But can apply more force than he can through the first 10 meters. And also just being 320 pounds doesn't help my top end speed either.
True. Fair enough. You know, hey.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you came down.
The hamstring's going to pull at like 30 meters all out. I'm going to be be popping a hammy for sure.
I think too. What's interesting about the the point of view you have in terms of power development, and obviously you know so much about the sport and that aspect. That's why you can. That's why you are at such a high level. And something I got to see this summer that's pretty cool is you take the technical side and like learning about the sport super seriously, and you also take that ability to learn about it and you're able to teach. And I saw you coaching some of the Switzerland athletes out there in Bellinzona, and then we had Aiden Owens, actually a decathlete from Arkansas, that said, hey, he's done a couple sessions where you've been around and kind of give him some pointers and stuff like that. So as an elite athlete, that's kind of like the peak, is once you're good enough to where you feel like you know where you're going, and then you can start like passing your knowledge off to other athletes. And that's something I'm learning too as well, because I'm coaching at the Naval Academy the last 2 years and coaching hurdlers, actually doing pretty well. I had a girl break the school record last weekend, and I like to pat myself on the back. Although she's doing all the work, it is kind of cool to kind of see like, hey, like what I learned from the sport, in terms of force production, technique from my coach, I can pass that knowledge on. And that means I have a really good like understanding of the concept myself. So that means I can do it in training. So that's pretty much, probably why you're so great at it as well. You took everything you've learned, understood the concepts, like, hey, this is what the base movement is, and these are the exercises I need to do. And, this is what's going to make me throw farther. And you've done just that, which is very, very impressive.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I feel like coaching is a fantastic way, and not just in like track and field events. If you can explain it in a simple way that people can understand, I feel like that is true mastery of whatever it might be. And so that's kind of what I feel like. I've had days where I've just spent coaching, and so I'm a coach at the University of Arkansas now, and I've done a session, like 90-minute, 2-hour session, and I'm working on it, trying to explain something in a new way to a kid who might be struggling. And at the end of it, it's like, man, I kind of want to put on my shoes and do a little session here, because I feel like I've figured out in trying to explain something that I thought I knew 100%, I figured out that either I didn't know it quite as well as I thought of, or there might be a new way that I'm thinking of it, trying to explain it to this kid who doesn't understand anything I'm saying, that I kind of can draw new conclusions. And so I feel like if you can coach it consistently as an athlete, I would recommend any athlete or anyone who wants to have any level of mastery in anything to work on explaining it, and explaining it well and simply to others. I feel that there's stages. So at first you jump into something and you have no idea, and you know that you have no idea. And then the next step is you think you know everything. And then you get to a certain point, then you realize again that you know enough to know that you don't actually know everything, and you kind of think that you know nothing yet again. And then you try, and that's really the step before mastery, is admitting that what you don't know. And then when you start to master it, is you start to know what you actually know, despite this vast ocean of knowledge that you still don't know, but you know that you don't know it. So I feel like that's kind of the stages of coaching. And so and like with anything, so I'm just trying to really hammer down what I don't know, or what I do know, and expand and grow slowly, but at the same time acknowledge how much there is to learn, and to continue to grow.
Wow,
that's amazing. Yeah, you got to get on.
Show's over. That was fantastic.
Yeah, you got to get on. You got to get on some of these coaching podcasts, because there's a lot of coaches that can learn some stuff from you as well.
Yeah. So while talking about coaching, we actually had, when we were talking with Annika earlier, again, USA Nordic combined skier, she had a question that, because you guys are both veterans at this point, that she needed a little word of advice. So Annika is 20. Her brother is 18, I think just turned 18, and these guys are competing at the pretty much the highest level in their sport right now. But they're super young, and there's a lot that I'm sure that they can learn even just outside of the athletic realm from you guys. So there was a question if you want to play that video clip, Bob, producer Bob in the shadows.
One huge thing that I have been struggling a little bit is how do you not let the pressure, cave in, and how do you keep a cool head while, you're just about to start your race? One huge thing that I have been struggling with.
Not quite a race for you, but before you go into throw,
how do you
deal with that?
Yeah, so there's the answer that I think is the honest truth, but it's not the answer that everyone wants to hear, simply because I feel like that answer is predetermined. So if you want to deal with pressure 100% effectively, is prepare to the absolute best of your ability. And that's really, really difficult to do because the only person that can hold you accountable to that is yourself. And so if I start, say even just right now, so I have this realization that I want to do something. If I dedicate myself completely to it, I do everything I want that I need to in practice. I do all of my rehab, prehab, all of my training, and I commit to it 100%. And I go into that competition. At that point, I walk in and I say, it doesn't matter what happens. I prepared for this to the absolute best of my ability. And no matter what I do walking away from this, I'm proud of what I did. And that level of confidence and self-assurance is completely unmatched. There's no other feeling that you can have than walking into a stadium knowing that I prepared at my absolute best, because really you can't fail. You did everything that you could do for this moment. And now the rest, whatever happens is going to happen. But you prepared as best as possible, as you possibly could. There's no other feeling like that. That level of confidence that you can have to dedication in your craft. There's no way you can walk away failing from it. And so that's not guaranteeing that you'll have every day will be perfect and you'll never lose and you'll be the most successful athlete ever, but you will be the most successful version of yourself that you can possibly be. And that's really, I feel like all you can possibly hope for as an athlete.
100%. That's exactly kind of the direction I was going to go with my answer. For me, it's the same kind of preparation leading up to an event or whatever your goal is, right? If it's to win the Olympic gold, that's like the top of the mountain, and you can't fake it. Just like Ryan said, you have to, prepare. You can't show up on that line not having done that and then have the confidence, on the line for me at the start of the race saying, oh, I can win this, when in the back of your head you're like, oh, I didn't do this, that I should do this the way I should have done, that the way I should have done. And I've had both kind of moments in my career, like parts of my career where I'm like, like Ryan says, like prepared the best I could, and I feel so confident and I run that way and I win and I'm, ecstatic. And I've had other times where I show up and I just try to fake it and it doesn't work. Because you can't trick this bad boy right here. The mind is super powerful. So I think that's great advice from Ryan to the young athletes. You just got to know that you got to do your absolute best in order to prepare well, and then everything you can, everything past preparation that leads to the competition is going to take care of itself, right? Whatever you've done leading up to that, and then secondly, you have to understand something important in competition at a high level, especially the Olympic Games or even the World Cup or whatever competition you're going to, is everyone's nervous, right? Like you're not the only one going into competition with butterflies or feeling, have a bubbly stomach before the event, or you can't sleep the night before. All of us have felt the same way. Like I'm sure, and I'm not going to speak for Ryan, but I felt, like nights before big events or big football games, I can't sleep. And then I wake up exhausted. But by the time I get to the game, I'm locked in because those nerves, that natural fight and the flight or fight, response kind of takes over. That adrenaline goes and you're ready to go. So I think it's going to happen, in competition, especially the younger you are and the amount of competitions you've competed in aren't as many. And as you get a little bit older, like me and Ryan are getting there, you compete in, I mean, we're not old yet, but we've competed in a lot of big events.
This guy's old. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're still a baby.
No, for sure. So, but yeah, we've competed in a lot of big events. So, maybe that nervous feeling is getting less and less, although we still probably feel a little bit of that. So that's I think the best way to manage that. And like Ryan said, that preparation is going to be key to utmost confidence leading into a competition.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like the preparation, everything is so much more of a long-term, and everyone wants a short-term solution. I don't want to say that there is one, because there's nothing that can substitute for truly preparing ahead of time. But I mean, just day of the competition and even in the moments before you compete, like there's something about taking 2 deep breaths, and I feel like that's something that makes a massive difference. Even day to day, like if you're feeling stressed out and you feel like you're just on the bubble, and it's like I'm about to have a mental breakdown. Something about just taking 2 deep breaths, whether you're about to compete in the final round of the Olympics or someone just cut you off driving home from work and it's been a long ass day and you're like, man, I'm about to lose it. Just like 2 deep breaths can do a huge, huge thing for your mind state, for just taking 5 seconds to do two deep breaths and really just reset yourself and get yourself in the mind state of like, all right, he just cut me off. I'm on my way home. Like I'm done for the day, and I'm gonna make it home. I didn't crash the car. Like we're good. 2 deep breaths, and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
Coincidentally, my Apple Watch literally just said it's time to take a breath. It does breathing exercises throughout the day, so it's time to take a breath. Here you go.
There you go.
So switching gears back to our Nordic combined friends overseas. So 2 siblings. They're from Finland, but also reside in Silver Springs or.
Steamboat.
Did I get that right? What did I say?
Steamboat
Springs.
Springs. Yeah,
Steamboat Springs. There's so many springs out there. Yeah. It's crazy, Ryan. Literally, it just seems like every single top performer in Nordic combined just happens to be from this one town in Colorado. I don't know how it something in the water, something in the snow. I don't know. But you guys also have a little bit of athletic pedigree in your families, I should say. I know, Devon, you said that you couldn't beat your sister at anything until you were like 13, 14 years old, right? And then Ryan, you've got an uncle, a father who all competed. I'm kind of curious how much your family history played into your roles at becoming professional elite athletes.
Yeah. So for me, a little background. I come from an athletic family and a family that really, for whatever reason, went with track and field as their predominant sport for a lot of the athletes in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandpa was a national champion while in the Army in the 50s. My uncles and my dad all were collegiate athletes and professional track and field athletes for some amount of time. Each of them, my uncle was a 2-time Olympian in 88 and 92, Barcelona and Seoul. As a javelin thrower, my dad missed the Olympic team by 1 spot. He was 4th at the Olympic trials. So that's the toughest spot to be in because you get to send 3 go to the Olympics. So he was the first one out at the Olympic trials. And my uncle Dean was a NCAA champion multiple times at the University of Oregon and school record holder there. And then in my generation, my cousin Haley was a javelin thrower, and she had the high school national record, was the youngest thrower to ever make an Olympic trials final. I believe in the javelin, I believe in all throwing events, as she made the Olympic trials final as a high schooler. And my cousin Sam, who Devon, I believe, was teammates with. You had some overlap with Sam at the University of Oregon. Sam was an NCAA champion, high school national record holder as well. So Yeah, a lot of athletes in the family. They didn't all push me into track. That's kind of, I feel like, what surprises people is like, oh, your family was track and field athletes. Like you were throwing when you were 2 years old. I didn't start track until I could do it in middle school as part of the middle school team and represent the actually wear my middle school's uniform and compete for West Orient Middle School. And looking back now,
West Orient.
I can't believe my school was named West Orient and it was across the street from East Orient. But that was actually so that was looking back now. It's every like my girlfriend can't believe it. She's like, your school was named West Orient. I was like, yeah, I went there after I went to East Orient. She's like, that's not very politically correct, but it's a family name from the area. It's not referring to Asia.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. What was
But,
that picture that we just had? That tweet, by the way, did you see that? Was that your dad and uncle in Sports Illustrated in the 80s?
Probably both of my uncles. You guys gonna throw it up on the stream?
Yeah, go back to that if we could get that tweet back up. Look at this.
I feel like I'm missing it, but I think is it on a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Oh yes, it is. Oh, you don't have the desktop up.
I do, but I'm not seeing the.
Oh, okay. Well, I see it right here, and yes, it's on. It sure is on a motorcycle.
Yeah, it's on a motorcycle. Yeah,
I think that is Dean and Brian. That was when they were both at the University of Oregon. So yeah, they both won NCAA championships that year, and so yeah, that was. Unfortunately, I feel like we're not doing that with college athletes anymore. Like not taking shirtless pics or tank top pics of college athletes riding motorcycles together.
Why not?
Well, with
bring
the
that back,
new
Devin.
rule
Bring it
changes, maybe
back.
there will be.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could do that again. So, so with Annika and Nicholas, they practice together, they compete together, they live together. I asked them just kind of to explain a little bit what that dynamic is like for two elite athletes from the same family living with each other and everything else. Bob, you want to roll that in real quick? Maybe.
It's like really interesting because sometimes the smallest
do you
things
not
will
let
like,
the
get on,
pressure
like, will get on each other's
and
nerves.
how do you keep
Right, but what I have to say about that is when that happens, we're back to normal within 5 minutes. So it's like when you get in arguments with your teammates or like you disagree with your teammates or just they get on your nerves, that'll last for days. Versus with your sibling, it's like small sibling arguments that you can get back to being normal. And
I got yelled at about like clogging the drains of the shower. I think I've gotten like so many comments about that, and Nicholas has been trying to like get me to like get into the friggin' pipes and try to like dig my hair out of there. But I mean, like, yeah, like Nicholas said, like we have our moments, but I think it's been really fun. We've like created a ton of like inside jokes. So there's this TikTok that Nicholas saw, and so it's in Finnish, and we've been like saying it for the past like 2 weeks. Just okay, you can start it.
I'll leave that one to you.
So it starts like, hey,
No, that's not how it starts.
Oh, how does it start?
I don't know why you're.
Bob, do you have this TikTok?
Weird.
Okay, we'll just go right past it. But yeah, it's great to have like a training partner, and then also like be close enough to like, have a great relationship and just kind of bounce off like keeping each other, at the top. One huge thing that I have been struggling.
So it's kind of curious because I don't know if you've actually had that experience with family, living with family like that. But I know, like Ryan, for example, you at the in Chula Vista, you were there surrounded by a bunch of your teammates. Devon, obviously, in college, and I guess you had some roommates down there in Arizona, right? Freddie, I believe, right? So
Yeah,
I'm just kind of curious is it the same type of dynamic, or is it, you know, would I guess? And the second question, would you be able to live with your siblings like that?
You know, it's tough. I think, to be honest, they're telling the truth there. I never really got upset at my sister. I have a twin sister, for all those watching that didn't know this, and you know, we played sports together my whole life, and she was a 2 and 3 sport athlete in college, as well. So you know, her being a great athlete, we always competed against each other, and yeah, we were super competitive, and sometimes we trained together and played the same sports when we were younger together, but we never really got mad at each other. And when we did, you know, it was like for a couple minutes because we like let it be known. But I feel like it's more interesting as an adult or a little bit older when you have like roommates or training partners. It's like you don't want to like step on people's toes. So like sometimes those arguments kind of blow up in your face. They can either be like, they can either be nothing, like you know, no big deal or whatever, or it could be like a big, you know, big thing, you know. So luckily I haven't had any bad roommates. Actually, Mitch was my roommate in college, and he was my roommate in Phoenix for a bit too, and he's been great. So I lucked out there.
Yeah, I feel like the sibling one would be interesting because if anyone that has siblings know that no one can like trigger you or make you as upset as fast as a sibling can.
Oh yeah.
Like there's one thing that siblings are good at for everyone is getting under the other one's skin because you've had your entire lifetime to practice it.
Yeah.
So that you have that, but also I feel like that you're the fastest. They're the fastest to make you angry, but you're also like the fastest to forgive. Like you can't. I feel like it's unusual that you can really stay mad at a sibling for very long. I know with my brother, like I can get him mad in 10 seconds, but he like at the end of the day, we're still brothers, we're still like best friends. And so I feel like that is great for being roommates and training partners. I feel like it would definitely be difficult, but if there's something that makes a good training partner and good roommate is that it's communication. And I feel like there's no one that you really know how to communicate better than a sibling, someone you've spent your whole life with. And so I could see it working. I feel like it wouldn't be easy, but I was going to bet on one person that you had to make it work with, it would probably be a sibling in terms of being a roommate, training partner kind of situation. If I was going to bet on one person, I feel like a sibling would be the average person's best bet.
Well, and they hold you accountable, right? Like, you know, I can, you know, my sister, you know, she's been getting into like post collegiate stuff. She's just getting into weightlifting and stuff like that. So she's asking for advice, and she's like, what do you think I need to do? And I give her my basic advice. Obviously, I'm not an expert, you know, I'm not a strength conditioning expert or a nutritionist, but I'm like, hey, Krista, you know, you need to eat more if you want to put on muscle. Like, you know, that this whole, you know, thing going around social media is like, oh, I gotta like not eat carbs and do all this stuff in order to gain strength to get cut up. That doesn't work, for one. And then two, you know, we go out to eat, and she's eating like, you know, maybe a cookie brownie. I'm like, well, you said your goal was to, you know, get super strong and feel good in the weight room and this. So like, should you be doing that? And you can only say that really as like a sibling, right? Like you can feel comfortable with saying that, because to somebody else, I'm not going to call them out. Like
you want to say that, you probably don't want to say that to your girlfriend.
No, for sure. But I can say that to my sister.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, but that's the truth.
For
so
sure.
The winter athletes, they all seem to do track and field. We talked with Annika and Nick. They did track and field as well. But I kind of flipped it on them. I asked them if they had any winter sports suggestions for you guys based on what your careers are. So I think that'd be fun. Let's go play that game a little bit, because they actually had some very well thought out ideas here.
Let's play Guess That Sport.
Downhill skiing or GS, just because those guys are tanks.
And if he wants to start ski jumping, he'll probably have to lose about 100 pounds. So yeah.
Ooh, probably more than that.
Yeah. Hurdling, I mean, that could be maybe good for like ski jumping because you have that push. Maybe not. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Let's see. I would say, I mean, that's a tough one. Maybe, I mean, since you have that sprinting aspect in that quick twitch, maybe like cross country sprinting, as long as you just get the technique down, and then your endurance up, obviously. But or speed skating, actually, that could be good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, speed skating, I could definitely see that. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the Super G? I mean, lose 100 pounds and take that on, Crouser?
Shoot, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like no matter what, like you're not seeing a lot of 320-pound Winter Olympians. Like unless you're curling. I mean, I feel like at my current size, I could curl. But
you would
I
probably
feel like
break the broom. You'd break the sweeper.
True. But I feel like I could be an enforcer in hockey. I'd have to learn how to skate, but I feel like I wouldn't be like a skill player in hockey, but I could hit some people into the walls. I could get.
Would you make a good goalie? Because you could fill a lot of the goal, and you're quick. You're pretty quick.
I'm surprised for Devon they didn't put you on like a bobsled, because you're strong, especially for your body weight. If we got you up to like 220 range,
I'd be good at that for sure. At 220,
just an absolute push as hard as you can against the sled for I'm guessing about 20 meters, 25 meters, like because you're strong weight wise, considering you're trying to because you're always struggling to keep your body weight relatively low.
Yeah,
like if you wanted to hit the weight room, you could gain 20 pounds pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing too. Like they mentioned that with the ski jumping for you, maybe, you know, I think as elite athletes, and this is my mindset, is like I could put on 100 pounds and like be efficient at some. I mean, obviously, it's going to take me time to do it correctly, but like I could be efficient at another sport. Like you said, I could put on 50 pounds and be just a freaking push animal in the bobsled. And then for you, I don't know how much weight you could realistically lose at 6'7". You know, there's only so light you can be. But
I feel like I could slim down. So I lose weight surprisingly quick as soon as the season's over. As soon as I get off, mostly my lifting program. Like for me, it's nutrition and lifting that keep my body weight up. I mean, as soon as I cut that out, my natural body weight is not where I'm at right now. Like I'm not 320 pounds if I'm not forcing myself to eat and lifting. I have to lift at least 3 days a week. If I cut less than that, I freaking lose weight fast. And so, I mean, I could be 250 pretty quick. And for me, if I'm not eating 5,000 calories a day, if I ate what I felt like, I would be a lot leaner than I am now too. So I feel like I could get down to 240 really quick without really trying to force it. I could get lighter if I wanted to, but it'd start to be a struggle, I think, to get under like 240.
All right, well, deal. So me and you both go to 240 and we do a 2-man bobsled team.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think I'm tall. I think I might be too tall for the bobsled is the only thing, because they got to tuck into that little. The sled's pretty small.
All right, what other sport we can do together?
Be a fighter pilot. Because I'm 6'7". I don't know if I can be a bobsledder either.
But if you're sitting in the nose of the sled, I mean, that's just like gravity do its thing at that point.
That's a lot of weight and power if we were both 240.
True. Do they? I feel like do they balance out this? I just don't know enough about the technicalities of bobsled. Because like, do they balance out the weights? Because I know like in rowing, you've got the coxswain at the back, and they balance out the weights. Like in collegiate rowing. So if you have an 80-pound coxswain, I think the coxswain can't be under like 110 pounds. So they'll put 30 pounds of weight in your boat to even it out. So I don't know if bobsled is like that, because otherwise you could have like a 400-pound dude at the front, and that's a lot of gravity pulling you down.
Yeah. Well, the thing about, what I realized too is I was watching, I don't know if this is for bobsled, I can only assume, but I was watching some of the luge. There's some uphill bits. So that could be a huge issue there, right? Like you're flying, and then, but once that gravity starts working in the opposite direction,
Slam the brakes on.
That could be a big issue.
Yeah. But I doubt there's as many 320-pound guys who have that quickness and explosiveness that would actually benefit them in this. Now, there's the sport for you that Bob just pulled up here on the Twitter. The doubles
is this a
luge.
real sport? No way.
Why am I not seeing this?
I've never.
Yeah, I don't know, but you're missing out.
You're missing out.
You're missing out. I don't know.
There's two
it's
people
up here
laying on top. There's two people laying on top of each other, which I've never seen this sport.
This is the luge doubles.
Yo,
I'm just gonna.
dude, Ryan, we would kill this. Yo, what are we doing?
This, I mean,
I'm
look,
pulling up images to at least see it.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not unprecedented to have a summer and winter athlete.
Olympian.
You can be a 2-season athlete.
The only thing
Bob's
is,
texting it to me.
yeah. The only thing with this is they're only moving the sled with their arms, so like,
Oh shoot!
a little bit of a disadvantage. But I mean, I think we're strong enough. We could probably make it work.
How do you even steer that thing? I have
That's
no idea.
amazing.
There's a lot of people on Twitter. Why are we not talking about the 2-person luge?
Yeah, why are we not
Iconic.
talking about this?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Look, we have
I
12
have never
more
seen
days
this
of this
event
show.
ever.
No, you well, keep your stream open.
Yo,
You gonna be
we-
top
you
or
know-
bottom?
hey, I'm on top. I'm on top. Come on. Just no. We need to get some losers on the show, because I'd be
Yeah.
interested in understanding how they get into that, because I like, the skiing and the snowboarding is relatively like you go recreationally, but like other than sledding, which is a lot different than luge, because luge is
Mhm.
legitimately like on a track,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I don't know how you get started in that sport. I don't know how you control the sled. I don't know how you get started in skeleton either, which is just luge on your stomach head first, which seems like a bad idea to me.
I've done something like that. I ripped a like a penny board. You know what that is? Like a small skateboard. There's this big hill at the University of Oregon. I just ripped it down once, and I fell face first, and so it felt like I was skeleton. I was just like sliding down.
Oh.
But
And Bob. Oh, okay, I wasn't ready for that. So I think this appears to be our friend Annika not landing a jump. There she goes. Okay. Yeah. Look, all these winter sports are just super dangerous, and I think that's kind of the appeal of all of. Oh, that's Nick. That's Nick not landing the jump. That doesn't look fun at all. But I mean, it beats the faceplant that happened in luge. Yeah.
Especially in the cold, I feel like if you train or work out or spend any time in the cold, like you know that it just hurts worse. And I know, Devin, like from your time in football, like when you go out there in cold weather and just get absolutely wrecked,
100%.
it hurts way worse than the cold.
Just everything.
That
like
one's
even
sweet.
catching
That
the
one's-
football. Yeah.
Even just like you jam a
Stubbing a
finger,
toe.
stub a toe in the
Yeah.
cold, it hurts. I can imagine like coming down 70 feet, 80 feet and crashing into this ice bank.
My dog's tail hit my ankle today while I was taking him on a walk. It was like 26 degrees. And it felt like somebody hit me with like, the memes of the razor scooter. They do like a trick and it hits them in the ankle. That's what it felt like because it was so cold. Well,
I
this
mean,
is
you got
sick.
a big dog too. That's a lot of weight behind that tail.
Can we get on the show?
Barry.
Before we...
Get Barry Allen on the show. Get the Flash on the show. So
See, I don't think
we're
that'll
watching.
hold me. I don't think the
Hey,
wind tunnel will hold me.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy the different type of things that they do for training for Nordic combined and for ski jumping. It's unreal. Like this doesn't look like anything. How do you keep your ankles at that angle? Like while flying into a headwind. Yeah,
I would love to have that dorsiflexion.
That's a word I didn't know until you said it 5 days ago, Devin.
That's like beyond dorsiflexion.
Yeah.
You're in a new flexion at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
wild.
pretty crazy. So the I don't even know what I guess we're watching more stuff with Annika and Nick. Well, you know what? If we're gonna go to Annika and Nick videos, there I did ask him a question just about ski jumping or Nordic combine, and
Devin, you
basically,
could do
you know,
that. You
what
just don't have the hip flexibility, right?
oh
You can climb rope with no feet.
Yeah, and my hip flexors aren't strong enough to hold them like that. But yeah, I can do that in theory.
Yeah, that's the same. My hips are way too tight for that, but I at least have the upper body strength.
My hips are getting better. I've been working on it. I'm actually after I get off this show, I'm gonna go stretch for about 15-20 minutes.
there you
My
go.
little nightly routine. Just trying to be great like you, Ryan. Just trying to be great, baby.
Loosen up those hips.
There was earlier today. I know we were just talking about food, and I know Ryan, you probably just hate getting food questions all the time. So rather than asking you, you know, any sort of food question, we had the siblings kind of put together what their ideal day of eating 5,000 to 8,000 calories would look like. So I'm just going to play that down for you real quick, and maybe by the time they're done, you're going to want to eat.
Oh shoot, I gotta unmute it.
Getting that food down as much as you can. As much as you so coming from, you know, some Nordic combiners that have to maintain a weight that is under BMI, I think we have some good advice to give you on what to eat. On a perfect day in paradise, this is what me and Niklas would stuff down our bellies. You want to start?
All right, so I would start breakfast with a good English breakfast. Probably, let's see, what would I start with?
Eggs Benedict.
Oh, Eggs Benedict, that was a good one.
And English breakfast and Eggs Benedict.
Okay, all right,
Benedict.
either way.
Can't forget the coffee.
Yeah, coffee is a necessity. I would like to stuff down some waffles on a good day. Wouldn't mind, let's see.
We'll take like an hour break after breakfast, but maybe 45 minutes. And then after that, we'll jump right into lunch.
No, you forgot about brunch.
Oh, brunch, okay.
So brunch, let's see. I would like.
That's how it really
good
was.
Egg
Right?
sandwich.
I remember you were like, oh, I gotta eat.
Egg grind.
Like we just ate 2 hours ago.
Anything else?
And,
No, I gotta eat.
I'm asking you.
Okay, chocolate cake, you know, fruit cake, eggnog cake. It's a surprising one, but it's pretty good, I think.
Hey, yo.
I think let's go on to maybe like the saltier side, maybe a soup. Lots and lots of mashed potatoes, you know, get filling in.
All the carbs.
Carbs, yeah.
And
since we're half finished, let's go into the finished side of what you.
Oh yeah. So moving on to lunch, or I mean, this is also a dinner dish, but I would not mind some caristes. It's basically, what is it? Just sautéed mousse with mashed potatoes and
lingonberry jam.
That could be fire.
Well, my grandma makes some really good
I haven't had
blueberry pie.
That would be a good dessert for lunch.
Yeah, blueberry pie. And there's this one good kind of cheese. It's called squeaky cheese, and you put that in your coffee.
Yeah, you can put it in your coffee or just kind of heat it up and eat it. It's actually, I mean, okay, it is surprisingly good for what it sounds like.
Cheese
in the coffee.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess if you're finished, you put cheese in your coffee. That's
so.
I've heard of butter and I've heard of butter and coffee, but cheese and coffee. That's so...
Butter and coffee doesn't taste so like I don't want to say it doesn't taste great, but it's not that it tastes amazing. The keto diet, because it fits in with keto and nutrient timing, but. Yeah, so I mean, I can say that they would be over 5,000 calories if you did. But now you got to train. You have 3 training sessions a day. You're gonna be feeling bad at those 3 training sessions eating that. I feel like that's part of it is because you have to really schedule meals around training. But yeah, like 5,000 calories is a lot. And then the only thing I would say to anybody who wishes that they could eat more, like, it's not eat whatever you want, it's eat clean and fuel your body. Because if you eat poorly and you're like on a relatively low calorie intake, you feel kind of bad, and then you train. If you're on a high calorie and so you eat a lot of bad food, you feel extra bad,
Yeah.
and your training goes extra bad. And so you kind of combine those two things. And then the main thing that will wear you down eventually is you never feel hungry. So for my nutrition plan, if I feel hungry, that's that I'm at a caloric deficit, and so that is not optimal for training. So if in my optimal nutrition, I should never feel hungry, which is not really a good feeling because I'm never eating when I'm hungry. I'm eating because I have to eat.
Yeah, not ideal. You know what would be interesting, Ryan? And this, I'm on the social media side. This would blow up on TikTok or Instagram Reels and do like a true day in the life of what you eat and just like bang it out for like your 5,000-6,000 calories and like a big training block for you when you kind of like are packing it on. That'd be pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, so I'm messing around with my new YouTube channel, and that's like the number one request I've been getting is
what do you eat? Yeah,
day in the life, but mostly food. And so my buddy is helping me edit and produce content, and he's like, "Dude, you gotta do food. You gotta do food." I was like, "No one wants to see food." He's like,
Dude,
"No, everyone wants to see food. You just don't want to see food."
Trust.
And I was like, "Dang." And
Well, it's
then
just
I
interesting.
asked people, and everyone's like, "Yeah, food for sure." So like, yeah, today's been kind of a lackluster day. My parents just got into town, so it's been a busy day. But like, trying to think of just a quick rundown. So it was like it's kind of disappointing. So I did 2 breakfast burritos, 8 eggs total on like the giant extra large tortillas. They're 200 calories a pop. And then I got new Sam's Club pickup. I got like the breakfast kielbasa sausages.
Ooh,
Chicken
fire.
breakfast kielbasa sausages. So a
There you
sleeve
go.
of those.
A sleeve.
Like a sleeve. They're like the short ones. I think there's 10. So
Okay.
I took them up or chopped them up and then ate like 3. Yeah, chopped them up with the eggs, put cheese, sour cream on the breakfast burrito. That turned out pretty good. And then went and trained. Cliff Bar during training, Cliff Bar after training, 18 ounces of chocolate milk after training. That was not really ideal, but it was just what we had available at the track. And then I came back home. My parents were here, and then so I made. Who knows how to say it? Heroes, gyros,
Yeah,
GYRO.
Shout out to the kebab.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I had. There was a 6-pack, like a DIY 6-pack. So I gave 1 to Megan and ate 5. And then
that's right.
And then I ran to Lowe's, bought a ladder and some equipment to hang up my new throwing tarp, and then came back and had 2 half-pound burger patties on bun with cheese and everything, and some kombucha as well. And so have another snack before bed, and then a protein shake before I go to sleep.
Dang.
So that's today.
So what do you eat on? What are you going to eat on Super Bowl Sunday? Like, are you gonna? Is it? Do you make like nachos and stuff like that, or?
Maybe. I really don't have too much plans for Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, I might. My girlfriend Megan makes really good guacamole, so I might have her make some of that. Some chips and guac.
You need like a 5-pound bucket.
She makes like a big bowl with, like, she makes like the 1-gallon bowl of guac.
Oh, it's amazing. Fire.
Two bags of chips.
Yeah, I want to give a little bit of contrast to Ryan's diet, and I'll give you my day to day because it's very, very different. So I wake up, didn't do anything till about 10 o'clock. Actually, no, I had physical therapy this morning at 7, and at 10, I made breakfast. I had 2 eggs, 2 egg whites, 2 pieces of turkey bacon, 2 pieces of regular bacon, and then I put that like in a bowl with some like roasted sweet potato, some like pico de gallo, and some sour cream and some salsa, but no tortilla. So kind of like a burrito with no tortilla. And then I have like about a cup of raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. I had 2 oranges and a pear. And then I went to get a massage. Today was my off day, so I did some work at home. And then I had like a snack. I had 4 more oranges and some seaweed chips. And then for dinner, I had probably like 6 little lamb chopped lollipops,
Nice.
a sweet potato, and like a protein shake that was just berries and spinach and protein powder. Two scoops of that. So yeah,
There you go.
and that's
The
about like
fruit's hard.
I like the fruit a lot. It's good.
Yeah. No, that's a really solid diet. Do you like the late breakfast? Like not waking up early necessarily, but like the late I enjoy that if I'm not trying to really have my calories be high. Like I kind of like waking up, doing stuff, and like eating breakfast like 3 or 4 hours after I wake up.
Yeah, I usually do coffee right when I get up, and then I like about 10 or 11 o'clock I'll eat breakfast because I train at 2. So I try to eat. I want to eat something before 2 because if I don't eat, then I won't eat until 6.
Yeah.
But I don't like to eat like much closer than 3 hours before because then I kind of feel like lethargic. So I usually, to be honest, I only usually eat about 2 meals a day.
Yeah. See, I feel that I feel the lethargic, but I eat every like usually within I never go more than 4 hours. So like I'm lethargic all the time.
Yeah.
But also
No,
that's why I love tapering in my training because the training load goes down. So I'm like less time in the weight room. I'm burning less calories. So I have to eat less. And it's like I get this sudden burst of energy, but it's from 2 sides. It's from training less. So I'm actually feeling good because my training is tapering down and I'm not as tired, but also I'm not training 2 hours after eating or an hour after eating. So I'm like, dang, I feel really good now that I'm eating a little bit less. So that's why I love tapering and really, really getting into the championship season.
Yeah, well said.
There you go.
Well said.
Well, look, it's way past our end time, but this has been such a good conversation. I just let you guys keep going. But Ryan, I think we're probably going to let you go here because we have we have another show to get ready for tomorrow that we're going to be prepping for. Yeah, who do we have? We have Grant Andrews from Nordic combined tomorrow. He's a great guy. And then Micaiah Briscoe and Talia Brooks are also going to be joining us. Talia down there in Fayetteville, I think, right?
Talia missed practice today.
Yeah.
So hold her accountable. Ask her where she was Wednesday for shot practice at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, they were celebrating the big win against Auburn.
I know she was at the game too. Arkansas beat number 1 at home, so that was a big win. So I don't take that as incredible. Though. Still missed shot practice.
No excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. It's going to be 3 days in a row coming live from Fayetteville on this show. That's a pretty good streak.
I think it was her birthday too, so she was doubling up.
Yeah, no excuses though. I'll make sure. I'll make sure to let her know that she's got a 2-a-day with you coming up at some point soon. But look, the show is called "What Were You Thinking?" Always like to end the show with asking a "What were you thinking?" moment. And I have 2 questions for you, Ryan, for "What were you thinking?" moments, because last year you broke 2 world records, indoor and outdoor. So I kind of want to know what were you thinking after both of those throws, because the situationally they were so different. In the indoor season, you threw it so far you didn't know if it was going to count, and for the outdoor world record, you threw it and it seems like you knew that you had the world record before you even let go. So I'm curious to know, what were you thinking during both of those throws?
Yeah, so it's funny because I feel like, and I've said this a few times now, I feel like there's 2 kinds of world records. There's wow, I can't believe I did that. And then there's a finally world record. And I feel like each one of they're on both sides of the spectrum. So the indoor world record, that was my first throw of the season. And I knew I was in good shape and I let it go. and I saw where it landed. I was like, wow, I can't believe I just did that and broke the world record on the first throw of my season. So usually track and field athlete, you open up the season, you're not expecting a world record. That's just not something that usually happens. You usually progress as the season goes. And so I surprised myself. I was in good shape, but I wasn't tapered down. I wasn't expecting to throw a world record. So that one surprised me. And then the other world record is the one that you've known it's possible and you've been in shape for it and it hasn't happened. And then you have the next meet and you're expecting it to happen and you're in good shape for it. You're throwing in practice and then it doesn't happen. And that was the Olympic trials. I'd been probably 3 years really where I would have bet money that I was going to throw the world record in a meet in the summer when my training's going great. I'm tapered down and I'm in good shape. I'm at the distances I need to see in practice to throw the world record, go into the meet and don't get it. And so after 3 years of feeling like I was due for the big one, I finally did. And in the moment it left my hand, I literally just thought, I finally got the world record. And so it landed, was certified, everything. They measured it, certified, world record. So I feel like what I was thinking on the two is totally opposite, but it's also the two categories I'd put world records into. You have the surprise that you get it and no one is more surprised than the athlete that did it because they weren't expecting it. They're the most surprised person in the stadium, or you have the one that you just say finally because you've known it's possible for so long and then it finally does happen. So that's what I was thinking at those two. So same year, same season, but very, very different feelings on each of the world records.
Yeah. And did it mean anything like extra special to set that record on such a big stage, the outdoor record? Or
that one for me was huge personally. So I didn't go home. That was the first time. So because of quarantine and COVID and everything, getting ready for the indoor season, I did not go home for Christmas. So that was the first time I didn't go home for Christmas in my lifetime, and so that was the first time I've been home back to Oregon in a year and a half ish, and so it felt like there was kind of like a homecoming. Hadn't seen family during quarantine, all of that, to finally get the chance to compete at a delayed Olympic trials for a delayed Olympics that we didn't know if it would happen at all. After training in a garage and on a sidewalk for 9 months at that point, it was like everything finally came together. The kind of pieces I've been trying to juggle, the training I've been trying to put together, the Christmas spent alone, kind of all came together and felt like it was worth it to have that moment. First time seeing family after so long there in Eugene, in the stadium that I grew up competing in for Junior Olympics and state high school meets.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And it was awesome to see that happen, and just can't congratulate you enough on all your success last year, and looking forward to an even better 2022, perhaps.
Thank you. That's the goal. Yeah, just trying to lay the foundation right now in the weight room and in the circle. So I'm tired and I'm beat up right now, but that's where I got to be if I want to be throwing far this summer. So yeah, just putting in the groundwork right now for hopefully a bigger season this year.
There you go. All right. Well, you're tired. We'll let you go to bed. How's that sound?
All right. I actually got to go hang a throwing net and do some online coaching, and then I'm going to go to bed. So we're almost there.
Big day. Big day.
And probably have 2 more meals and a protein shake before that as well. Awesome. All right, Ryan Crouser, thanks. There you go. Thanks so much for joining us, man. It was good talking to you.
All right, it was fun. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, We'll see you. That was fun. That was it's always a good time to talk with our boy Ryan Crouser.
He's the guy.
He really is the guy. So yeah, thanks to Ryan. Thanks again for you, Devon, for jumping on to co-host. You're getting better and better every day. It's almost it's similar to training, except with,
Hey, I believe that.
Down for an hour.
I believe that wholeheartedly. It just takes hours in practice. You can be great at anything as long as you spend the time. doing it. So
there you go.
It's
And
exciting.
no one asked me, but for the record, I am on a breakfast shake kick these days because I got a Vitamix for Christmas, so it's just been Shake City over here.
Just
so
Shake City.
Yeah, we're working
those
on
aren't bad. I go with the shake. If I have like a really early session in the morning, like earlier than 12, I'll go with shake because it's still like good nutrition, right? I get my 40 grams of protein, some fruit for energy, some whatever. But it doesn't feel too heavy, because it's a liquid.
I've been putting some espresso beans in there too, make like little Java chips sometimes, give me a little
Ooh.
boost in the morning. Look, I got some tips for you. I got some tips.
Hey, that's the move.
There you go. All right. So yeah, like I said, we got Grant Andrews, Nordic combined. He's going to be joining us tomorrow, along with Micaiah Briscoe, who is the current world lead, and of course Talia Brooks, who we have to shame for missing practice with Ryan Crouser. Which
shame.
I would be terrified. You don't want to get on that guy's bad side. Again, thank you all for joining us on no matter what platform you're watching. Go follow us on whatever platforms you are not on: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Obviously, here at FanFest, you can join us again tomorrow and the next 11 days, I believe. At this point, we will be here every single night at 9:00 p.m. Eastern. Devin, where can everyone find you on social?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Devon Allen 13. You can also follow my podcast, Track Boys Podcast, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube. And yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do that. I gotta get on that one right now. I didn't know that was a thing. I gotta get on that now.
Oh yeah, we only have a few episodes, but we're gonna get it rolling.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and we will see you same time tomorrow.
Peace.
Have a good night.